Hello and welcome to episode number 25. That's a milestone for us. It's been 25 weeks nonstop every week on Saturday at 11 o'clock. We bring you this podcast that delves into exploring values. I'm your host, Ajit Panicker, and lead an air conditioning company, Nova, and Pureblu, a tech startup in the air conditioning domain. We've been bringing this podcast every Saturday at 11 a.m. for the past 25 weeks. And our conversations go beyond business growth, focusing on the values that fuel it. Let's embark on a journey to uncover our true purpose and how we can grow by enriching our lives. Welcome to Life.EV, where we explore values in life and business. And the main person for the last 25 weeks where we got this podcast going is Vivek Asrani, and Vivek is here with me. Vivek, 25 weeks, nonstop. We've done it, man.
Unbelievable. I mean, it's how time has flown, Ajit.
That's right.
Yeah, but it's all thanks to
Well,
you.
to
Your perseverance and saying that, listen, let's keep doing this, bro, every week. I think that's been fantastic. So thanks for that.
but it's been a great journey. I mean, I love the feedbacks that people. It's a conversation starter. A lot of people who actually, after every Saturday morning, we really look forward to those WhatsApp messages that keep coming. That's fantastic. But for a lot of new people who've been joining us, Vivek Asrani is the driving force behind Camo Fastener Company, a trailblazing company in the industrial fastener sector. But what sets Vivek apart is his deep engagement with the exploration of values. For close to 4 years, he has dedicatedly penned his reflections on this topic every week. These insightful thoughts are accessible on his website, vivekasrani.com. Vivek has also authored the book One Day at a Time, Reflections from Times of Silence, which further delves into his journey and insights. This thought-provoking read is available on Amazon and also on his website, offering readers a chance to engage with his profound understanding of values and their role in both personal and professional lives. In today's episode, we ask a simple question: why not? Vivek, that's a very interesting episode, and that's why I kept it for the 25th episode. Wanted to keep something really interesting for that. It's very intriguing when you ask a question, why not? Share us the reflections around why not.
So, Ajit, more than the reflection, let me share with you the background story, which not only led to this reflection, but also led to a shift in the way I started living my life. So, I was in Switzerland at one of the conferences, and there was a movie, that was shown, and it was one of these management motivational movies where there is this kid and his father and an uncle, and they're driving past a circus, and the child says, listen, I want to go and I want to see that circus. And they were also circus owners in another part of town. So the father said, no, no, it's getting late, we need to head back. And uncle said, no, why not? So they go there, and one of the acts over there was this person, who had no hands and legs, and he was up on a stage, and people had to throw tomatoes at him. So the three of them really felt very strongly, and they kind of kidnapped him out from that circus, took him to their circus. Long story short, he then became the kind of showstopper of their circus because he was so talented and would be able to do somersaults into the pool and swim. And it was one of the most inspiring and motivating films. And at the end of it, I was thinking about it, and I said, for me, the pivot of that entire movie was when the child's uncle said, yeah, why not? Which is why they went to the circus, which is why they saw that person, which is why they then chose to kidnap him and take him to their circus and give him a different and a new life, right? So the pivot was why not? This was in the month of July. September, my oldest son, I think we were still in school or just in college, I forget exactly when. And Amal comes to me, he says, there's the F1 race in Noida. Can we go for that? My first thoughts: F1, I know nothing about, I don't understand it, I don't see the sport. Second, it's in Noida. I have to sit and organize hotels, flights, tickets for this event. I don't even know where to start with the event tickets and everything. Third, I'm so busy, I have so much happening. Fourth, he's talking about going like in next week, right? So I had all the objective reasons to say no. I mean, yeah, I'll take you at some point in your life, but not, we can't go next week here for this. And the next words that came out from my mouth were, why not? Seriously, okay? And I was reminded of that film, and I said the pivot was, why not? Let me experiment with this pivot in my personal life. And I said, yeah, why not? Called up a friend. I said, hey, listen, I know nothing about F1s. What kind of tickets should I buy? How much do they cost? How do I get them? And all of that. And we put all the practical stuff together. And because we're going to Delhi, we went 2 days earlier. We actually did a Segway tour of India Gate, Parliament, Rashtrapati Bhavan. We went and met some relatives and cousins, and our sons were meeting them for the first time. Went out for some great food, and of course went for the F1. Right, and Schumacher was there, and we were sitting right opposite the pit stop. So it turned out to be one of the most memorable trips for us. And again, the pivot was just asking that question, why not? Right. So that's the background as to why this reflection came about and how it's impacted my life. So, why not, Ajit, is a question which explores the unknown. And herein lies, I think, the breakaway. We can either live our life in the comfort of our safety, in the comfort of known, and we can probably step out in baby steps just to explore and say, okay, why not, within a margin of safety. Or we can be completely bold. And here we have, I mean, let me qualify this. I mean, there is a difference between being bold out of conviction and exploring something, uh, and being foolish about something, right? I mean, you don't stand on the terrace of a 20-story building and say, let me jump, why not? Please, I mean, that's not what I'm saying. But imagine you're sitting in a room as a technology company 20 years back, and somebody in some blue sky thinking says, hey guys, why don't we make a device which is a phone which doesn't have a wire, which is also your camera, which also has your music, and hey, listen, let's also build a television into it. And everybody in the room starts laughing because they think you're stupid. And somebody says, yeah, actually, why not? Why don't we converge this into a device which today we very happily use and take for granted? Or 50 years back, or 60 years back, whenever, sitting in a room, some scientist and someone just says, why don't we just go walk on the moon one day? And everyone starts laughing, and somebody says, yeah, but why not? Right. So, why not, to my mind, opens the door of opportunities because it opens the door of our mind. And we very often have locked that door within because we are not daring enough to ask the question, why not? So, my reflection has really been part of my personal story and journey, but also a way of encouraging people to use the key of unlocking the world of possibilities and opportunities and unlocking their minds with the key of why not.
Amazing. Just as why not, do you have an example to share which is more from a business related, a success that you had in terms of in business you asked why not? Because because when you keep talking about that, how do we put television and everything put together, to most of our viewers, if you actually want to ask these questions, watch James Bond movies. So when you watch James Bond movies, you can just keep asking why not, because these are some of the things that which Bond had actually done, and
Yeah.
somebody saw it and said that why not. So I'm quite keen to understand from your perspective.
Yeah.
Have you had this experience of asking this
Yes.
why not in business?
Yes. Again, I asked this question to ourselves at one of the most difficult, challenging, and trying times in our business. COVID hit in March, April 2020. Work from home had started. We obviously were not a big company who already had ERP systems on the cloud and all of that. So I still remember the first thing we had to do was figure out how to get server access in our office through some remote, and I don't even remember the name now. Okay, some remote access or whatever. And we were struggling, right? So we were running our operations, the team just delivered to a different level. Yes, but I could see that we were struggling. And even as a business, we had been struggling for a while because we had these 5 6 different softwares. Like we had one accounting package, like, not Tally, but something similar to that. We had Excel sheets for MIS, we had a different CRM and all of that. And I was talking to a friend of mine, and he was implementing, not had, but he was in the process of implementing Zoho. In fact, he was moving from SAP to Zoho. So I was very curious to understand from him why he was making the shift and what was Zoho about and everything. And we then got connected to one of the Zoho partners. Now this was already in the month of Jan, and 1st April is our new financial year. So obviously, when you implement a new ERP, a new software, a new technology, at least where accounting and inventory is concerned, we typically try and do it on the 1st of April because doing it mid-year has its own challenges. So I'm talking to this partner, and this is already now early Feb, right, of 21. And I said, but in any case, we're too late for this year, so we should probably think of implementing this in the next financial, 15 months from now. And he says, we could do it. I said, but there are only 2 months remaining. He said, let's give it a shot. I said, let me get back to you tomorrow. And I sat back and I asked myself this question. I said, why not? I said, let's just do it. So, Ajit, what would typically we should have done in 6 months, we did in 2 months, sitting remote because offices still hadn't opened. We implemented the entire Zoho package across the company: inventory, CRM, accounting, HR, uh, and we got it off the ground by, well, we wanted 1st April, but it happened by 5th or 7th of April. Okay, so yes, and therefore in all our discussions in our company, even though we are small, every time there is an idea, and before someone shoots it down and it's a little way out, I keep encouraging and saying, but why not? Chalo, let's give it a try. Unless it's something which I'm not convinced about, but I think the implementation of Zoho in our business during COVID, sitting in those 2 months, was one of those why not moments for me.
Amazing.
And sorry, and just to add to that, we pivoted the entire business. We've grown, and one of the reasons not only did we survive, but I would say succeeded through COVID was because of this, because uh, we had pivoted onto this one common ERP platform.
Amazing. That's truly amazing. And I guess, when you ask that question of why not, it makes a big difference. And I completely endorse what you say. You'll be surprised, Vivek. You know, we're typical brick and mortar guys, right? And this whole startup ecosystem was coming up all around. And I was quite fascinated. What is the startup ecosystem? Yeah, we've heard about entrepreneurship and we've deep dived into it. And what is the startup ecosystem? So I started visiting a lot of these places, a lot of these events and everything. And then one of the biggest things that I got in it, the concept of disruption. And then you also realize that disruption is not really bad. It's probably an opportunity for something new. So it just led me to think, what could disrupt my business? So I started thinking in a completely different way that this is my business. I'm growing, I'm scaling, I'm happy, I'm comfortable. That's my comfortable space, area of comfort. What could disrupt my business? And I started thinking through these things. I flipped that question a little later, of course, with help from friends and everything when we get into a conversation. And he said, why not I disrupt my own business before someone else does it? And when the thought process of that why not started coming in, it just leads you to explore changes, the new opportunities, and you just get to start a new venture. You just the power of why not, like how we said it, no, this could be exponential. It could just open so much of new doors. But from this, while we all understand this, that this is a very powerful question to ask, my question also goes to you is, why is it that most of us don't ask it? What stops us from asking this question? Why not?
Three things, Ajit, to my mind, stop us. One is the comfort zones that we live in and the security of comfort. We get so attached to it that we don't want to step out of that cocoon, falsely believing in our minds that this is going to remain forever. So the attachment to comfort and being cocooned prevents us. Second is, why not is always in the realm of the future and the unknown. But that's also where the discovery is to be made, right? If it was already known, then there's no discovery. But there is a fear attached to it. So when that sense of fear comes in to say no, but so many things could go wrong, then we stop ourselves. So the first uh, filter that blocks us is our comfort. The second is our fear. The third is when we lack conviction. If we hear an idea and we internally are not convinced about this and it doesn't resonate, then even though intellectually we may ask the question, why not, we will not have the inner backing to say, no, I'm going to do this. But when, I did this with the implementation of Zoho, right? There was an inner conviction which kind of said, we can do this. uh, I think in the last podcast we had spoken about conviction and stubbornness, and I'd spoken about the example I'd given last week was the musical Housey during Malhar, and it was one of those why not moments for me. I said, like, why not? But it had the backing of my conviction. So I think the three things that hold us back is our comfort, our own fears, and our lack of conviction. And I would like to, Ajit, just before we wind up this episode, I just want to read uh, one paragraph from my reflection, that life is not just a journey, it is an exploration. It is not the security of safety, but the spirit of adventure that will open up not just experiences for us, but open up our minds to a completely new way of living and thinking. Opportunities in life will keep knocking on our door, and we can only open the door of our minds when we are willing to ask the question, why not? So life, is not just a journey. We keep saying life is a journey, which it of course is, but it's not only a journey, it's an exploration. So when we build that spirit of adventure in us, when we build that spirit of discovery in us, when we build that spirit that, look, there is so much in life to discover, and I have this opportunity as a human being today to, and in my own space, wherever I am, to try and break the boundaries and borders and see what is possible and enter into the realm of possibility. When that concept starts exciting me as a human being and as an individual, whether it be in my business or whether it be in my personal life or profession, that's when the why not becomes an operating paradigm.
Amazing. To our viewers, if you were wondering what he was reading and where he was reading from, it was from this book, One Day at a Time, Reflections from Times of Silence. You can get this on his website, vivekasrani.com, or also on Amazon. Well, that's episode number 25, and that's about the time that we have for today's episode. Well, you notice this discussion had some deep insights. It certainly gives us all plenty of time to think about the balance between exploring values and business growth. I'm going to encourage you not to just keep these ideas to yourself. Share this episode with your friends, colleagues, and family and ask them, what do you think? Spark a conversation and see where it leads. And we'd love to hear from you too. Join a dialogue on our social media platforms. Share your questions, your learnings, and the insights you've gained from this episode. It's from these shared experiences and perspectives that we all learn and grow. So don't hesitate to reach out and contribute to this ongoing conversation. Well, that's it that we have for today. Join us again next week for another enriching episode of Life.EV, where we continue our exploration into the world of exploring values in our lives. Vivek, thank you very much for these valuable contributions. We look forward to diving deeper into these critical discussions in our next session. So, see you next week, where we will unravel more insights and perspectives that shape our ethical compass. Thank you for listening. And remember to reach out to your friends and get a conversation going on life exploring values. Thank you, Vivek.
Thanks, Ajit.
Episode number 25 done. So we start our journey to our next episode from next week to the episode number 50, starting 26 next week. See you guys
Why
tomorrow. See you guys next Saturday.
not? Why not?
Why not? Bye bye. See you next week.
I'll take care.